right, y'all, let's get started. We don't really have a big meeting plan today. This is a pretty, hopefully we won't be here for a whole hour actually, which would be really nice. Now, I don't even have the agenda here with me, so
let's go ahead. Fire department, you are always top of our list. What's going on?
Well, thank you for having us once again. Obviously, we're right down the street. We're in the neighborhood. Got a couple things going on. We have picked a new chief. He will be arriving on the 10th of June. He is coming from Colorado. We're super excited to start our new voyage with him. See what his vision is for this department as we progress. We also have a rookie school that's going to be graduating. There'll approximately be 20 more firefighters working. That will be approximately middle of June. So those two things for the community. We're trying to stress with this heat, make sure our residents stay hydrated. It's very easy to just go outside and think you're just doing mowing the lawn or something, and then next thing you know, you're not feeling well. Stay in the shade. If you don't have to be outside, don't be outside. If you have to be outside, try to find shade, wear cover. Make sure you stay hydrated. The other thing is, we've been getting a lot of open area fires. A simple cigarette thrown on the ground can start a fire very easily, especially as dry as it is. We haven't gotten any rain, everybody knows it. So last couple shifts we've been going to open area fires, people trying to do cleanups in their yard, thinking that it's just a simple burning of a couple leaves or some sticks or branches, and it gets out of hand and they're not ready for it. The city does have a policy on burning, it's not allowed. Typically the only time they allow it is after hurricanes, just to try to lessen the debris, but normal operating, they don't allow it. So be vigilant as neighbors. If you see someone, it doesn't always necessarily have to be calling us. You can easily just talk to your neighbors. You guys seem pretty close knit community. Just say, hey, there's no burning, and it's easy as that. We don't always have to come out and enforce policy and call the cops and all that stuff. Once again, smoke detectors always being available. All you got to do is call. I'll give you guys a number. I give it to you guys every time, but the 912-651-6756, and any fire station in the city. You don't feel well, you want to get a blood pressure check, they're always open. All you got to do is make sure the truck's in the bay or whatever, and we're always around. Any questions? That's it.
I do have one question.
Yes.
There was some concern around the chat boards last night in particular. There's fireworks going off everywhere.
Right.
Exactly how much of a fire danger are those?
With the dry conditions it is, you should be very cognizant of shooting them off. We don't necessarily want the ones that get out of our range and we can't see where they land. Even when we go over to Dept Park with the ones that are situated with the Savannah bananas, we get our machine out there because there's always that constant danger. So if you're going to do the fireworks, make sure you have something, even if it's a garden hose, just in case it does get out of hand. All it takes is one to tip over and it can easily start a fire and get out of hand. But we're not saying don't do fireworks, because everybody likes fireworks, but just be safe while you're doing it, and that's the main thing.
Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Well,
Thank you.
if we're not setting off them, will we hear them going off?
They're not illegal to do. They are illegal. They are legal. It's just the fact that if or you see them and they're being unsafe, that's where, as a neighbor, you can always step in and just be vigilant and all that stuff.
all right, thanks guys.
Thank you very much.
Really
You guys,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Hey.
Hello, my name's Stephanie Price and I'm the Assistant Chief of Police for Savannah, Georgia, and just stopped in. I just wanted to say hello everyone, and this is what I look like, and I just wanted to let you know that the Savannah Police Department, and even though you guys said fire was the top of your list, I'm not going to hold that against you. I'm not going to hold that against you.
Well, it's always because they're in a rush. So, the police department is always very good about giving us lots of time and attention.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, Corporal Lonka likes to spend a half an hour talking to us, so they let the police go first.
Gotcha. All right. So I just wanted to say hello, and thanks for letting me come to your meeting. You know, I kind of busted in. So
nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you all too. And we're starting our Safe Summer Initiative which is when officers should be out of their police cars, walking in the neighborhoods, talking to the people. So if you notice this, if you want to engage them in conversation, I was telling another group, some of our younger officers kind of have a bit of a problem with small talk. Like, they don't know how to do it, right? Because you didn't text them. Right? So, yeah, if you just, hey, how you doing? And yeah, somebody took offense, like, why should we have to start the conversation? You know what, you should. But isn't it kind of nice just to say hi to folks? So
We are a chatty neighborhood.
so there you go. So next time you see your police officer, hopefully they're on foot and not in the car. But if they are in the car, you can ask them, hey, how about a walk?
That's great. All the residents responded really well when they were doing foot patrols. Everyone was super excited to see them out there, so we certainly really love that
Yeah.
extra effort.
Yeah, and we're really pushing that, not just for, visibility's sake, but for health sakes, right? Right? Everybody sees everybody walking. We're even having more walking meetings, at a headquarters. So if you see us walking around talking, don't think anything about it. It's just something that we're doing. Okay. So if you do see them out in their cars, wave all 5 fingers. And, just to let them know what's going on. All right, and if you need something, stop and tell them. Need speeding, radar, anything like that, just let them. And for me, just so you know, I hail from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm not from the Savannah, Georgia area, so I spent 20 years there, and I'm imported to be your new assistant police chief. There's no snow. I'm okay. My children are still making up snow days, still. They're not out of school yet because they had that many snow days. Yeah, so they're not even here yet because they're making up snow days.
Well, just enjoy the quiet.
Oh my gosh. Two, I have 2 kids, 12 and 16.
Oh, yeah, it is a vacation. Good for you.
They're planning to come to school here and everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. They have to finish school first. My daughter already asked me, she's like, do I really have to finish? Yes. Anything else you guys would like to know? So I'll be at your meetings if you want me here. Just let me know. Call the chief's office, let them know. Questions, comments?
I just want to know if the shot recognition software is up and running. In the 31 years I've been in my house, I've had my house hit once by a bullet, and my truck hit once by a bullet, costing me thousands of dollars. And every 4th of July and every New Year's, you hear people tick over like the Edgemere area, just shooting up in the air and not worry about where those bullets are coming down. And I don't know, I know it's working because my next door neighbor about a month ago shot a snake in her front yard and 3 police cars were there in 2 minutes.
It is working.
After we had already called them, tell them, please come and shoot a snake in her yard. They never showed up, but as soon as she got out her gun and shot, here they were.
The shot recognition software is up and running, and I do know that this week they're doing updates on it. So, and that was an update that came down from the company. So the company is going to be doing updates. So it is actually up and running, but they are going to be doing updates on it.
So they go out when they recognize where it's coming from and try to find those people that are doing that.
They absolutely do, and so what they do is they go out there, they go talk to the neighbors and see, did you see anything out here? And what they do is try to find the shell casing. When they find the shell casing, they run that through a system that we call NIBRS, and what that does is it recognizes that shell casing to see if it has any trace evidence on it from any other shell casing that they picked up in the area. We're currently trying to work on getting those DNA'd, but it needs a rapid DNA machine to do it, and we don't have a rapid DNA machine because they're super expensive. But I would like to see him get DNA, because if that's a felon that has his DNA on a shell casing, well, that's super hard to explain in 5 years in the federal. I'm just saying, I come from a pretty violent city, so that's finally what they went to with DNA and shell casings, because just NIBRS, where you can prove this bullet was here and it was here and it was shot from the same gun that we recovered here, well, that's all great and dandy, but if someone doesn't admit to that, yes, that's my gun, and you're gonna admit that if you're felon? I'm sorry. Being realistic about it. But it's hard to deny the DNA that comes with that, so we're currently looking into that. But again, that's gonna be an extensive process. It's gonna be finding the rapid DNA, which we know where one is, but then that involves an MOU and it involves the exchange of funds and stuff like that. So I'm not promising anything on that, but that's where I kind of see that now.
How much are those? Do you know off the top of your head?
No,
Well, is there- if there's-
expensive, like, I couldn't write a check.
If there's anything that we can do to support that idea, I mean, that you feel like you need equipment, then I know our neighborhood is all about help, like
Thank you very
writing
much.
letters or whatever.
Right, and I don't know how that's going, so, you know, I've been here like a month. So this is just something that also people are like, well, okay, we could try that, yeah, wow, she's good. But really, that's where I see this going, because how else are you gonna prove that person had that gun in their hand and they had their DNA on the shell casing? It's hard to explain, right? I could explain, well, I don't know where that gun came from, and I don't care about that, right? Unless I admit it, so that's just not really, make sense? So we're trying to use more technology, and our chief is all about getting the technology in the hands of the folks that really need it and are gonna use it. So there you go, there's some more folks for you. Anything else you have for me?
Thank you so much. It's exciting.
Thank you.
What's not for you, what's not for you?
You showing up late when the boss is here.
Yeah, I know, I realize, if I could shoot a picture, I would take her.
It's all yours.
Okay, well, thank you, good to see you.
It's good to see you.
I'm causing trouble, all right? Is it my turn now? or-
It is.
Yes, let's do it. We're standing in the spotlight.
Yeah, now I'm nervous.
You nervous?
No, you're not.
There you go. If you'll pass those down. There was only one time really in my life where I was actually like nervous. It was when I was in 5th grade. I was passing notes to this girl sitting next to me, and then the teacher called us and read the note out loud. And the note was, and I don't know why I asked this, but I asked the girl if she had dandruff. And so the teacher read the note out loud. So I'm gonna be very quick because actually there hasn't really been going much as well as the neighborhood, which is a good thing. So the only thing that happened since the last meeting was that there was an aggravated assault at 52nd and E here, where this guy was chasing his girlfriend in a car and started like crashing into her vehicle, trying to kill her. So then, but he was chasing her really all over Savannah though, but it just so happened that she called at like East 52nd and E Road. So unfortunately the incident got coded for Gulf neighborhood. But he ended up getting arrested down the street where they kept chasing him and all that, and then he finally got caught. So, but it was domestic related though. But, and then if you compare, you guys are down compared to this time last year. So there's been 2 violent crimes and 13 property crimes so far this year. And then last year up to this point, there were 2 violent crimes and 17 property crimes. So it's a little bit down. So I have some guests with me. I really didn't know the assistant chief was going to be here. But besides her, I have Detective Fraser here. She works with the gang unit. She's a gang expert and all that, and I know every now and again.
Expert.
But I know every now and again people have questions about gangs, and then you all know APO Gauze, and he used to be in a gang, so he's also. But you know what's funny though is both of them are from New York, so we have 2 New Yorkers here. So Gauze is from Brooklyn and she's from Staten Island. So, but if y'all have any gang questions, y'all can ask them. So it's all yours now. You want to stand over here?
That's fine. Hi, like you said, I'm Officer Fraser. I'm in the gang unit. I've been in the gang unit for about 2 years. In the 2-year frame, I'm still catching up because these kids, they want to start a gang every 5 minutes. So majority of the ages range from as early as 13, 12, and up. So right now we're just seeing a spike between a lot of middle schoolers and a little bit of high schoolers. In your area, I'm really not familiar. I just know everything north from Victory down is a hot spot. I know you had some issues here, people shooting and stuff like that, but nothing was ever confirmed gang related. So do you have any other questions about other areas you're concerned about?
Or if y'all have any like questions in general about like gangs, you can ask her too. So.
How many gangs, official gangs identified
Official gangs?
in Savannah?
We would say it's a little over 100.
Really?
Yeah. That's because it's always constantly changing, so we always have to vet it. So right now in our system, we're tracking a little over.
Do you have girl gangs?
boy gangs,
Actually-
or are they mixed?
You don't really see a lot of just only girl gangs. A lot of gangs consist of just the males, but like they have the girlfriends and stuff like that. But there's nothing we identify as like a strictly girl gang.
Yet.
Yes.
And how many per gang, or is it varies?
Well, the state of Georgia, the gang statute has to be at least two or more. But so a gang could be any 2 to 3 people that they share the same mannerism, wear the same color, we do the same thing, do the same thing. So we try to not label them officially a gang until they commit a violent act. So a group of kids, they just like to hang out and stuff like that, but they wear like the same color shirts. Like you can't necessarily say, oh, they're a gang. But they have to be into criminal street gang activity for us to label them as a gang.
Is there a certain quadrant, area in the city where it's more predominant versus?
It's everywhere, but the most blunt groups are heavy in the west side. That's like in the Numbers, MLK area. And then you have some on the east side, that's like in the 30s, in the Waters. Those like the 2 main concentrated areas that we look at all the time.
Well, thank you for keeping an eye out for us.
I'm trying, it's hard.
Anything else?
That's all that I have, so, if that's all I have.
Thank you. Other questions?
Thanks.
All right, thanks you guys as always. We appreciate it. Officer Brownstein, did you wanna? Is it Browns? Brownstein.
Yes. My name's Officer Bronstein, I'm the City Staff Code Compliance Department, and don't have a whole lot to tell you guys about the neighborhood. It's one of my quietest neighborhoods, so I get my complaints. The only, obviously, if you have any problems, issues, complaints, suggestions, call 311. This neighborhood, if it has to do with code compliance issues, or sanitation or anything, they don't know where to put it, they'll send it to me. So we get it. One thing I was going to talk about, I know that we see a lot of the signs now, political signs. We see, also advertisement signs, little things. We call them snipe signs. If they're in the tree lawns or on the right of ways. We're not allowed to have them actually. You can't put them on the public right of ways. They can't be in the parks. They can't be on the tree lawns. For political signs, especially that size, you can put them in your yard. If you want to, as well as if you're advertising, someone's say tree removal or anything. If you have that, you can put that in your yard as well, especially the small ones. Some of the bigger ones, though, we're having some issues with right now. And technically, especially for bigger ones, they're considered temporary signs, and you're supposed to get a permit for those, even if you put them in your yard. So some of the ones with the, these 2x4s, and they're standing, like 4 feet long. Those, even if they're in your private yard, you are technically supposed to get a permit for that. And so we are going to be slowly talking to people and saying, look, if you want to have the sign here, you need to go get a permit because it's just temporary. We're not supposed to be there for long.
There's a person who lives on Lexington and he has almost a billboard in his yard. Is that
So some of those, yes, we are going to be starting to, when we see them, we'll drive around, we'll knock on the doors and say, look, you have to go get a permit to have to remove those. So, and as I said, smaller ones, obviously we're not care about that. And that is really about all. If you have any questions for me.
I've gotten a couple of calls about these we buy houses signs.
We get them, we go around and we work there alternating on Saturdays. So we usually show up at the office at 7 a.m. on Saturdays. And Saturdays usually every other weekend. So that's usually a day where we go after those signs. We'll drive around our areas, our neighborhoods, and we will, especially if we have, we'll pair up with someone who has a pickup truck, and I actually drive a car, so it's a little bit harder for me to get those and reach them. But we'll go with the pickups and we'll put on our little yellow, orange vests, and we have a tool that can reach up and grab some of these signs up on the poles, and we'll try to remove them when we see them. And if you do have, did receive a 311 complaint a couple of days ago about one get those on Saturdays, especially in the mornings when it's not busy, when there's, not too much traffic, because obviously safety first, we don't want to get hurt. Like that.
One of the comments that was made, a resident approached somebody about the signs, and the conversation did not go well. And I think what we tried to do is tell them, call 311, don't get into a confrontation yourself.
Right, yeah, don't tell, obviously, if you feel threatened, call the police, obviously, they are doing something illegal, you're not allowed to put these signs on, poles, you're not allowed to put them signs, we call them all snipe signs, basically. You can't put them in the right of ways, when you do see them, we pick them up, and throw them back in my truck, or back in my car.
What about like, directional signs for open houses or garage sales?
Technically, you're not supposed to put those in the public right away, but usually if you are just putting them out there for that day, or like the day before, and it says, garage sale, it's like a Friday night, you're putting them out for a Saturday garage sale, and we'll usually leave them alone, hopefully you'll go back out and pick them up after the garage sale, and, if we see them, and if obviously it says like, 502, to 2019, and it's, the 28th, we're gonna pull them, so we can see them, but, usually, technically they're not supposed to, but we hold more than, it's obviously, it's garage sale and some,
And open houses.
Right, and open houses also.
What's the average response time to have limbs and things taken? I called Monday this week ago, because I did extensive tree pruning in my yard, to let them know I didn't want to block the lane back there. And, as of, I forgot to check today, but as of yesterday afternoon.
That is sanitation, I have no clue, depends on how backed up they are, sometimes they can, get to it, right away, sometimes if they're, if it's busy, or, I really don't know. Was this an extra bulk pickup, or was it a certain, so they charge you extra?
I filled all the way across the back of my property.
Sometimes, it can take them a week or two, you never know, they try to get out there within a week, and do it. A lot of times when you call 311, if they'll give you a code, you can, you should be able to check, and they do have a set response time, they'll say between 3 and 12 days, or whatever it is. Usually the larger range is the maximum. But as I said, sometimes they do get backed up for bulk pickups.
Tell them we pick up, certain.
Should be
Usually, yeah,
I did all that, but every tree on my property and hanging over my
And
property.
there's a certain, if you have a certain amount also, there's a certain limit that's free, after that they will charge you.
Yeah,
So
well, she told me on the phone, I said, that's fine,
Right.
because usually I just put out a little handful,
Right.
and,
That usually will pick up once a week,
Yeah,
pick up.
and that's usually
lawn
gone.
bags.
I didn't want to walk the lane back there and have things hanging out, so I thought, well, I'll call, let them know right away, and
How
get
long
on the
has it been?
schedule, but then they haven't shown up yet.
How long has it been since you called?
Yesterday was a week ago, I called, first thing in the morning.
Did they give you a number?
Well, they tried to, I thought, well, I said, no, that's all right, thinking, well, they'll be there sometime this week. So
I'll always get the number.
Well,
I see
I
that.
will tell you, I put in a call back in March for a recycled can. I did not take the number that they gave me, I called back in towards the end of April, because it had been, they still haven't got the can, and they've explained they're on back order. But they were able, just by giving my address, they were able to look up and said, yes, we still have your information, it's on back order. So I would suspect they probably by your
Check
address
tomorrow.
to find out.
Thanks.
I just came back to Savannah a couple months ago, and went for a long time, and I've only been to one of these other meetings, and somebody made a crack about squirrels, and everybody laughed and stuff, so I don't know what the story is with squirrels in my neighborhood, but right around me, we just have so many, and they're getting into people's roofs, and I may have some in my roof right now, and it seems as though there should be like a ban on feeding them, because they're just propagating.
I don't know if anyone actually feeds it, they are wild creatures, and
Oh, I know that they're.
I think they are protected in Georgia, I don't know, I moved here a few years ago from Atlanta. I know in Atlanta, I had squirrels in my attic, and I tried to remove them, and they said that, you we're not allowed to trap them, so they were like an endangered species, but they were, there's some rule, you might call animal control, or just call someone, exterminators or, someone like that, that's not really a city thing, we don't control the squirrel populations.
Has any discussion ever come up to your knowledge about a ban on feeding them?
Yeah, I really don't know anyone who feeds them.
Why?
Our next door neighbor used to feed the squirrels and the fruit, and we had like just the worst flea outbreak. There were squirrels all over. It was totally insane.
That would be something for animal control. If you call animal control, they would know. And if there are too many and someone is feeding them, I assume they would be interested because it might cause diseases or anything else. Same, I assume as rodents, you're not supposed to be rats or leaving garbage out for rodents.
Anything else for Gary today? Thank you, as always.
Alderman Miller, you got anything for us today?
The big push right now is completing that sidewalk between the two parks, one they just built. And in this area, that's the big thing we're trying to push now. The focus now is on SPLOST, and what we're trying to get into with SPLOST is limited number of funds. We have, I think I mentioned last time, $680 million worth of requests, and it looks like it's going to be somewhere between $120 and $150 million. There are $6.5 million worth of technology upgrades for the police department in there at this point, trying to keep them in there. The system that the chief mentioned is not in there at this point. We're still trying to get electronic ticketing for the officers, which is kind of unusual that we don't have it. But again, SPLOST is going to be a vote, and it will need support because there's some people who vote against it. That's big things going on now. We are in the process of swapping city managers. I think everybody knows that. Pat Monahan is coming in as a city manager. He has been around a long time. He was the assistant county manager, but pretty much ran the county for the longest time. So he knows a lot of these things that are going on, and it's been very helpful to have him. But you'll see a search start beginning next year for a new city manager. In the meantime, Pat Monahan is going to be the acting city manager.
Now, you're putting it off until next year to allow the new city council to come in and make the decision.
This city council cannot extend a contract past the end of its term. So nobody's going to come in here for a 3-month term for the city manager. So it's best just go ahead and bite the bullet, have the interim city manager, especially when you have somebody like Pat, right? And then the new council will find and hire a new city manager.
We all appreciate that.
Let me ask you one thing. Janet Levine brought to my attention, she last year I think spoke with you a bunch and some other people about the fireworks situation. She has a medical issue and was particularly upset about the fireworks. We had fireworks going off until like midnight last night. I don't know if it's the same mortar guy who on 53rd Street as last year, but I wonder if there's any movement on, you guys were trying to do something to, I don't know, prohibit shooting them starting in May when 4th of July is 2 months away, or?
Yeah, the state, for some reason I cannot get an answer to, opened the season on fireworks, and I believe it's legal up to 10 o'clock at night on a regular night, and on weekends and holidays it goes up as late as 1 o'clock. The police do try to respond when they start having, usually when you have fireworks, you have them in a lot of places. And it's something that the police try to respond to. So I would suggest continue to call when you hear them past 10 o'clock or 1 o'clock on weekends. me, that's an outrageous deadline.
Have we been putting pressure on them as a local municipality to get the noise ordinance changed specific to fireworks, or have we not been doing it?
As a city, no, individually, yes. I've talked to quite a few of the representatives, and I just get blank stares.
Some of us are animal lovers. Dogs are frightened.
I agree with everything you're saying.
And children too. I mean, I wouldn't want a toddler running around.
When I grew up, fireworks were illegal, and I don't understand how we just opened the season. Fireworks. Some people, as you have learned, just have no consideration for anybody.
And they just won't do it.
In fact, I'm not sure they don't enjoy having the upset neighbors.
Is there not an ordinance, for fireworks within the drought season?
Is that
That
something
seems
we could do?
dangerous.
Can you introduce some?
No, this is all state law, and it supersedes any city ordinance. If we could, we would have a long time ago.
It seems crazy when it's I've been fighting.
I wouldn't disagree with anything anybody's saying here, because I'm one of these, I really don't understand it. We have people who are very responsible when they do it, and I think that's great, and they clean up after themselves, and they do a wonderful job, and they abide by the deadlines, and then we have other people who, I think those people who don't abide by the deadlines also don't clean up after themselves, and also don't take caution, and that's the scary part.
Can we invite our state representative to come to the next meeting?
We could try. We've never tried to get a state representative here before,
Sounds like
but
that's
you never
something
know.
that we need to have.
Gina Thomas was here.
I don't know which one it
Regina
is.
Thomas was here, but now she's running for mayor.
Yeah, she's
so I
running
don't
for
know how much
mayor.
vote she's gonna have, but we could try, I'll just respond.
No, that's a good point, though. I think that's a really
Since you're
good
saying
point.
it's a state problem, I know that at least this group is, wants to see something change.
Let's talk with Janet. She was very passionately, I don't know how many you know Janet Vine, but she was very passionately engaged with this subject last year, because it was the same last year.
I mean, is that something we could do as a city, to put together a forum and invite our state reps here to have citizens come in and voice their concerns, to at least show them the amount of people that are upset by it?
Yeah, how you get a response, I don't know. I think you do better as a neighborhood association to call your rep. They are your rep. You do vote for them. And I think Craig Gordon is the representative here, am I wrong?
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, he actually has an opponent too, so he may be willing to, for the first time in 15 years.
Okay.
Who's his opponent? Maybe we can get that person to say they'd be willing to do this, and then I'll probably get him to say he's willing to do it.
You're right. I have
I
his
don't have that
opponent's
force.
card, I think in my, I don't have my card with me, but I'll get you that information.
All right, let's all work together then to see if we can start moving some of the ball in a
Great
direction.
suggestion, Tina.
Yeah, that's really good.
What exactly are they planning to do on Cedar?
They were gonna add sidewalks from one part to the other, enhance the sidewalk.
From the west side down to Washington.
And lighting. The idea was to make that more of a walkway thoroughfare to tie the parks together. At the time we first came up with this thing, the other part wasn't even there. It was just a matter of trying to get people to and from Daffin Park. Now it's even better with the other part at the other end.
Was it that they did, was that drainage when they tore it up last month?
It was drainage, and they had some chemicals they had to get rid of.
Okay. I thought that was the start of the sidewalk, so.
I don't know when they're gonna start the sidewalk, so that's something we're pushing, and it's gotta get in line.
Okay.
So are the sidewalks on, because the sidewalks are missing on both sides of the street in certain areas. So is that the game plan, is to, where they're missing in certain areas, like on Cedar between 51st and 50th? It's missing on both sides of the street, but between 52nd and 51st, sidewalks are missing only on one side of the street.
The idea is to have at least one good sidewalk, wide sidewalk, all the way from the Lessons to Washington.
I'll mention stop signs again, if I may. If we're gonna encourage people to walk from park to park, they're gonna be walking across the number of streets which have no stop signs. It just seems to me that we're putting people in danger. So how do we put pressure on somebody somewhere that part of this project should be, if we're putting in sidewalks, if we're gonna put in crosswalks, we should have stop signs to protect the people in the crosswalks.
As it was explained to me, there is a international code of when you put in stop signs that deals with the amount of traffic that is there and the speed of the traffic. And what we can do is ask traffic engineering to look to see if it qualifies. If it doesn't qualify, then the city is encumbered from putting one up there. If you just put up a stop sign, somebody stops at the stop, and they come back and say, okay guys, why'd you have this stop sign here? It doesn't qualify, then the city has some liability in it. So the answer to the question is, you ask traffic engineering to look and see if we have enough traffic to justify a stop sign.
Well, it seems to me, I mean, downtown they have these signs that say you must stop for pedestrians. It's not a stop sign.
Yeah, right.
That would not interfere with those things, but still make it plain that you gotta stop.
Again, we'd have to look and see how much traffic do we have. Those things, there is an expense to them, and it would have to be justified with numbers. But it's a matter of asking, once we get it going, asking traffic engineering to.
So even those signs would fall under the traffic engineering
But yeah,
guidelines.
but everything does. I mean, cause there are a lot of places where they're asking for these things. There is an expense to them. Anything they spend has got to come from someplace else. Every dollar that the city gets is budgeted someplace. If we're gonna spend extra money here, it's gotta come from someplace else.
Well,
So
did
we do have
Parkside raise
that
their
kind of
funds?
a process.
Did we raise our own funds to get stop signs installed then?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not a lawyer, but you might incur some legality issues of your own.
What about marked crosswalks? Is that an option? Because I think that, you know, people slow down when they see a crosswalk. At least there'd be like some indication that people are now walking in that direction. Because I think we're all excited about that sidewalk being completed, but I also do understand, I mean, probably most people are gonna be using are gonna be the kids who are walking to Daphne Park, because that's like what mostly we're seeing that, and families in our neighborhood. So, I mean, a marked crosswalk, I think, would also have a.
Well, I would have thought that would be part of it. If not, I'll check and make sure it is part of it. You're just talking about paint at that point, so there's no reason not to. In the expense of what we're doing, that's minor. And you're right, it will. But I thought that was already part of it. I'll check.
The up and down Cedar, there's a stop sign almost on every corner. And that certainly does not get any great deal of traffic.
You're talking about going north to south. Yeah, but the least traveled road always has a stop sign. You never see an intersection with no stop sign anywhere.
So you're saying the north-south is getting more traffic than
No, I'm saying east-west gets more traffic than the north-south. The street that has the stop sign
is the less traffic.
Yes.
Well, that's great. I mean, I think it's great that we're getting the sidewalks. Hopefully, I mean, maybe we can try to take it one bite at a time too. I mean, once the sidewalks get in, yeah.
Another idea with signage is the, what is it, slow children at play or something like that. There's a child-oriented sign that might be useful.
Well, they ignore the 25-mile-an-hour signs. I don't know if they're gonna abide by it.
We're appealing to their heart.
What heart? I mean, I think we should ignore the kitchen sink situation. Kitchen sink, you know, like do whatever we can, because it seems like our options are
sort of limited, so like, whatever is like an option we can get away with, I think. So, I mean, I think that's something that we should.
Take a step, I like the idea. Gretchen, to answer your question, remember the day we were standing out in the middle of the street? There were about 25 of us, and the
Yeah,
blue
I
Malibu came
remember.
flying through. He had no heart. We
That
have,
street, the way it was, didn't even slow him down at all, so it was,
All right, well, anything else for Alderman Miller?
Before we move on, so we've got a few other things here, and we're getting a little close to the time limit.
I guess that's it. All right, well, thank you, Alderman Miller, I appreciate it.
thank you so much.
So we've got a number of neighborhood-specific things that we need to bring up. Next month is our elections for the committee. We sort of we've had this idea that if you want to be on the committee, then there are positions, but we can also find a position for, if you want to be involved. Like, our policy has just always been, anybody who wants to do something and be on the committee, then we're gonna find a place for you. And the committee is not, although I am here as the person who chairs this meeting, there is no power structure. The committee is, everybody on the committee is equal, and whenever there's an issue that comes up, that we generally actually bring it before the whole neighborhood association meeting and also online. But if there's something that we have to do right away, then we have a special committee online forum that we all discuss it and we all vote on it. So it's not, there isn't anybody in charge, so to speak. So we have that being said, we do have couple of positions that are actually, that were filled last time that are open now, and that's.
But every position is up for grabs.
Yes, if you want any of the positions, then we can, we'll have a vote. So, but I'll be running again, and Alan as treasurer, Gretchen as social media coordinator.
Philippe will be co-chair, we'll be running for that again.
Devin, you're doing secretary again, right? We've already nominated Jerry Connor for crime czar. Mediator here.
Mediator is Mary over here.
Yeah, Mary as mediator. Although we technically have to vote them in next thing, but again, it's more like if you want to be a part of it, then everybody is welcome.
Yeah, but we would really love to have someone who can help with special events, so like our block parties and stuff. If doing parties is your thing, we could really use some help. And for volunteer coordinator, that would just be trying to round up volunteers for whatever projects are happening, but very specifically the agenda flyers that go out on a monthly basis.
Does anybody have any interest in being on the committee who is here, who is not already on the committee?
We'll simmer on it.
Simmer on it.
We don't put you on the spot.
We're gonna vote next month. We do wanna have the nominees noted, let's say a week in advance of the next meeting, just so people know who is potentially going to be in the position. So if they have a grudge against their neighbor, they can come in and vote against them or something like that. But also just so everybody knows what's going on.
And also, just so you're aware, when we have such a full committee, the responsibilities aren't as heavy as you might think. So we like to spread things out and try to work together. So it might not be as much time as you think it could be.
Yeah. Okay, so that's that. And then we have a couple of events coming up that are really fun. The Savannah Bananas group, Parkside Savannah Bananas game. What do you want to say about this?
Sure, Parkside Goes Bananas. It'll be in the same private deck area we had last year, but this year they added wait service, so you don't have to keep going back to get your veggie burgers. And by the way, we did buy a record number of veggie burgers at that game.
Really, that was the biggest veggie burger sale of the year. Parkside. So that tells you a little bit about our game.
Yep. Tickets are $30 a piece unless you are a paid household member, and then they're $25 a piece. Those tickets include, that is August 3rd. Those tickets do include an unlimited type of food and sodas, as well as, cookies, hamburgers, things like that. And their food is actually kind of decent. And then we also have fireworks that night, so that should be really fun. But, you know, we've gone to some games, and I have to say the neighborhood game was the most fun that we've ever had. Just being with the neighbors and, I don't know, talking with you all was great. Arthur was there last year, you know, just really come out and.
Now, I will say it is limited to 50, and we did sell out last year. So if you want tickets, it's better to make a plan sooner rather than later. We actually sold 51 tickets last year, so we were like over the limit. We weren't supposed to do that, but that's fine. I think it's okay. But if you want to do those tickets, then Alan until tomorrow.
Right, well, at this point, it's better that either buy your tickets online through PayPal or Venmo, but if you don't have access to that, check payments will go to Gretchen.
Yeah, give it to us. I'm gonna.
Oh, Rob will take the
I'm on that
payments.
account.
And then he will get the word to me, and you'll get an email confirmation that you're paid and your seats are reserved.
How much are the tickets?
If you're a paid member, $25. If you're not a paid member, $30.
Okay, I probably need to re-up.
And then
Okay,
kids
well,
3
you
and
could-
under are free.
We'd be happy to let you re-up before you leave tonight.
But do you take credit cards? Because I didn't bring any cash.
PayPal and Venmo are the credit card options we take.
Okay.
So
PayPal,
we can send
Venmo,
you
or you can mail a check.
Okay.
But I have forms if you want a form.
And also, the following week is National Night Out. And this hopefully will not be as obvious as it is right now. That's when we do a pop-up picnic over in Delaware Park at 49th Waters. And you all just come out, bring some food to share, some beverages, blankets, chairs,
Tables.
and yeah, we just hang out for a few hours. The police will roll up, and for the kids, the Gruff, the crime dog, is usually there. But it's a good time to get to know your neighbors and just see your friends again, and also get to speak to the police department, which we have a great relationship with our officers. And
What's that date?
that is August 6th. And that usually happens at about 6:30, so get off work, have a little bit of fun for your evening, and carry on with your week. But I was really having a good time.
Yeah, that's a fun
That's a
thing.
good one.
It was fun.
All right, so that does it for those announcements. Are we done with the only announcements? Did you want to make your membership spiel real quick?
Well, if you haven't paid your dues in a while, please do. If you're not sure, you can ask me. I didn't bring the latest sheet, but I've got it through the end of April. But I can always check and let you know by email if you're paid or not. I've got forms you can take home, you can mail them in, and then we can get you paid up. Because the dues pay for our events, like the discounted bananas tickets, that extra $5 that comes from the neighborhood association. When we do something at Delorme Park, quite often the neighborhood association will buy either the hot dogs or maybe the drinks, comes out of that fund. We do the Halloween party, we kick in some money for that, and that's where your dues go. They go towards Treasure Day. We had 23 families participate this year, which was great.
Yeah, we also had our old cement signs printed,
Right.
that came from the dues, so anything we can.
Yeah, in fact, the old cement signs has actually inspired Dr. Robin Williams.
And he'll be on the news next month. Because of the sign.
He's going to be looking into restoring those cement signs throughout the city.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that news program he's gonna be on is with Dale Julin, who's our neighbor here. He lives on 50th Street, and it's great question
Yeah,
or.
great question or something.
Yeah, and so he goes into all that, so you know it's gonna be great, because Robin is very smart.
So that's where $15 per household per year. It's good. You get a lot for your $15.
And you get a sticker the first.
And you get a sticker, and if you wish, you can get your address stickers to put on your lane, or if you don't have a lane, you can put it on the back of your house.
All right, so just two more things here, then we're gonna get out of here. I just wanted to recognize a couple of guests that we have in our audience here. First of all, William Eason here, the Vice President or President of
Board member.
Just a board member.
Of Edgewood Cyclone Neighborhood Association.
And if you didn't have a chance, William and his fellow board members just set up an amazing event last week, the Philharmonic in the Streets, which was just an incredible event. And you know, we've talked a long time about the artificial borders between neighborhoods don't really mean anything. So that was as much of an event for Parkside as it was for Edgemere. And so I'd just like to give William and the Sackville Edgemere Neighborhood Association a round of applause for And you have anything you want to say? Anything else you want to say?
I'm just happy to be here.
We're happy to have you always. And I just want to recognize also Alderman Van Johnson. You wanted to say, Alderman Johnson?
It's hot.
What can you do for us?
Good evening, everybody. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, and thank you for being interested in what happened in the community. I love the advocacy, and I love the passion.
And Alderman Johnson has been very supportive of Parkside, and I'm assuming that if he becomes mayor, he'll continue to support Parkside.
Absolutely.
And it's on the record, it's on video that he just said that, so.
Yes, he has voted for us with everything we've approached him about. But we will be having candidate forums in September, August and September.
September and October.
September and October.
Look forward to it. So. All right, anything else anybody needs to bring to our attention, or do you want to bring up, we got 5 minutes, and or we can close the meeting early and.
Go ahead to different AC.
All right, thank you all for being here, great meeting. Really appreciate it.
Those of you, some people emailed me about.